Welcome back to VBar 101. As you can see here, I actually had to track back. That's the stuff that happens when you record live. I actually used the wrong servo horn, so when I started to record the session about setting up pitch, it turned out that I got really too low values on the cyclic ring and on the collective, which I know from heart that it won't fly as good as if I can get it higher. So what I've done is I replaced my servo horn with another type where I can get 1 millimeter further in on the horn, and now I have to go through the whole process of setting up the swash plate level and everything again. But it's better to take that step now than fly and you get a little wobble and you try to fix that, and make the best of it, out of it while you can, and then it will fly a lot better later. Just to recap a little bit while I'm now adjusting my swash plate for the second time. The first thing I'm gonna do is adjust the servos so they're 90 degrees, and then I use the bell cranks to make sure this is 90 degrees. I use the push rods to adjust that, and then I use the program as I showed you before to adjust so the swash plate level. It might be that this is, well, half a degree off. It doesn't matter, but in general it's okay. And from now on I don't need to touch this down here. We're gonna correct everything, center, pitch and stuff like that from the swash plate and up. If you don't have this correctly set up, if you don't have 90 degrees here, you will get effects like uneven pitch range. You will get perhaps plus 12 where you have minus 10 and stuff like that. So that's the effect out of it if you don't adjust this on the bench before. As I put back the swash driver on the head, it's not important that the swash driver itself is 90 degrees angle. The important thing is you don't get binding anywhere throughout the pitch range. So don't worry if the swash driver isn't 90 degrees, but do please take care and look that usually it should be 90 degrees, because then you don't have issues with binding. But that's the only concern. It doesn't matter if the arms are 90 degrees or not. I've now mounted the head of the helicopter again, and the first thing, because I know the swash plate is now level and perfect, I need to adjust the last step, and that's the head. The easiest way to find zero pitch is to set the radio at 0. You can look at the collective on the TX calibration and make sure that reads 0%. Then I actually drop a rod in the blade grip bolt hole. It should fit perfectly, meaning it needs to be the same diameter as the bolt. Then I use that rod, and it's very easy to look if the 0 is correct or not. In this case it's a little bit off, so I need then to adjust my push rod up to the head to make sure I get 0 degree pitch on the correct spot. There we go. Now my center pitch is good enough for that side. I'm gonna turn the head and do the same procedure on the other side. And now we actually have only the pitch range left to check. And you have two options. Either you use a digital pitch gauge like this one I have, or you can actually remove the head button and put something on there. On Logos it's perfect use just this one. I bolt that on where the head button goes, and you get a virtual flybar, which you can then use a regular pitch gauge. But I'll use this one. It only works if you have a flat surface on the, else you have, what you can do is put on a blade, then use a paddle alignment tool, and then use this one on top of that. That works too. So what I'm gonna do first is to turn it on, preferable, and then I set 0. Then I'm gonna check now how much my pitch range or cyclic pitch is, and I just do that by tilting the pitch 11.2, tilting the elevator 11. So I have an 11 degrees cyclic pitch, and that's perfect for me. I'm good with that. And let's check cyclic collective deflection is 13 degrees plus, and well, 12.8. It's not that exact because you have a little bit slop everywhere, so that's good enough. If I need to change the collective range, I just do it on the main screen, main rotor, the collective. When it comes to aligning the swashdriver, it's really hard to do it on the bench perfectly. So many times I've done it and I think, it's perfect, and I come out to the field and I feel that I get interaction. It depends on the blades and other stuff. So, but I'm gonna show you here how to at least get it in the ball range. What you need to do is to align the swash driver with the swash front and back, and then the blade holder should align with the boom. That's the main thing. Some blades need a few degrees offset for them to actually work best, and you don't get interaction. But I'm gonna show you probably in a simulator mode, since we have a minus 10 degrees Celsius and a half a meter snow outside, what to look for in the field when to spot that phasing issue that you get if your swash driver is off. But in general, just make sure the swash driver is aligned with the swash, and then look over the blade grips and see if they follow the boom. That's the only thing I do at on the bench. Phasing issue is when you have aileron and elevator interaction. In a perfect phasing, when you do flips, the tail stays in line all the time. But as soon as you have a little phasing issue, it won't. It will go out and, oops, there you go. It will go out, so it's not aligned, but when you come back, it will be perfectly aligned again. So half a flip, it's off, and then it comes back and it's aligned. In the same way, when you do rolls, if you add a little elevator, you get those corkscrew rolls, and that's how you spot the phasing issues you might get from a swash driver that is misaligned. So that's the way I do it on the field, and it's really, when you have learned to spot it, it's very easy to see it right away. It takes me one flip to see if I need to adjust that. Well, final thing that you should do, and even do at the field later, is to check the sensor movement, and that's the only thing I have left to do. Make sure it counteracts, meaning it should move against your movement. If you're unsure, put the finger on and feel it. It's easier to feel it going down and up. Also, I checked the tail gyro correction, that is correct, and it counteracts my movement, and it does. So this bird is ready to actually do a test flight. What I like to do is to just go up and bring it up in a hover. I do not do the auto trim flight right away. First of all, I want to see that it flies correctly and it feels correctly. Then I start messing with auto trim flight, and if that is necessary, I'm gonna come back to that.